I just wanted to say a few words, if you like, or make a very quick video regarding the first State of the Nation address, or Sona, of President Bongbong Marcos. I've just finished watching it again for the umpteenth time, and I have to say his tone, his manner, his delivery of the Sona, filled me with real hope and real joy. But not only that, I believe it was very emotional as well. When I saw, even at the beginning, when I saw Mamindai Sara Duterte there in her costume of the tribe, when I saw Senator Robin and all the other senators there standing proudly, and when I heard President BBM address the House or the Senate and Congress, I was really impressed by his delivery. I was impressed by the manner in which he spoke, and of course the details. But not only that, I was really impressed once again by the credit that President BBM had given to his predecessor, President Duterte. He's made it very clear again that the Build program of President Duterte would continue in earnest. Not one of the projects of the Build would be cancelled or ceased by President BBM. Instead, he's going to continue each and every one of those projects, but additionally, he's going to come up with more projects that's going to improve the transport infrastructure of the Philippines. And you can also people have been commenting, and some people have been commenting, why did President BBM switch from English to Filipino? The first thing to say is that I know President BBM made it very, very clear that English is the language of the internet, the international language of communication. And by the sound of it, President BBM fully supports the speaking of English in education, in instruction of the young people of the Philippines. And of course, he speaks excellent English himself, and I know very much that he's able to do this. However, it's all about the audience. Unlike CNN Philippines, who made a really big issue over the switchover from English to Filipino, let's look at these circumstances. At this State of the Nation address, a lot of foreign dignitaries had been invited, ambassadors from other countries who maybe don't understand Filipino. Also, there seemed to be people from the clergy and other invited guests, and not everyone could speak in Tagalog. But I think the main issue is this, many times, for example, the previous statements of President Duterte and the previous State of the Nation address of President Duterte, I have to say there are some people who've sadly misinterpreted some of the things the previous president had said. And, the fact is that when BBM has spoken in a certain way, he just wants to make sure that nobody misunderstands his words or misunderstands his intentions. President BBM has started the Sona speaking in English. And the reason is because he's looking for investment. He's looking to the international community. He's looking to the public-private partnership, which is something that he said he believed in. And of course, when you are speaking to the international community, when you are speaking to foreign investors, there would be no point whatsoever in speaking in pure Tagalog. How would they understand you? If you're reaching out, if you're looking for investment for the Philippines, and you are reaching out to people who do not speak Filipino, or Filipino is not their first language, of course it makes perfect sense to speak in English. when you are talking about matters of the economy, when you are talking about finance, when you want to make sure that everything that you have said is accurately captured by the media, when you are reaching out, if you like, to foreigners to explain the state of the Philippines. You know, the Philippines does have a place in the world affairs. And of course, there are people from across the world who are interested in the state of the Philippine economy. So, of course, it's absolutely essential to speak in English. However, when President BBM is talking about domestic issues like agriculture, like land, and issues that concern the Filipino people, not everybody can speak fluent English. Of course, I know that 99% of Filipinos understand English. I know that. I accept that. You know, I also know the Filipino people are highly educated. And of course, you know, it's not really a massive issue. But I just think it's respectful for BBM if he's talking about internal matters that don't necessarily concern the international community. President BBM is not asking for Britain to suddenly finance the agricultural interests of the Philippines. So why would BBM need to speak in English for that portion? You know, there was this CNN journalist who was making out that BBM was like talking to different classes, and if he was talking to, say, maybe the middle class, or that's the impression he could give, he would speak in English, and if he was speaking to a different class of people, he would speak in Filipino. That's absolutely nonsense. President BBM is a very clever strategist. He knows his audience. He knows who he's speaking to. And I'm also incredibly impressed by the manner in which BBM delivered his speech. He was completely and utterly flawless. He knew exactly what he wanted to say. You know, he delivered his speech with a passion. He's not a man who needs to rely on a script. You know, he wrote the script himself. I.e., he knew what he was going to say. He learnt what he was going to say himself. He didn't need to rely on a pre-written script. It is very clear to me that President BBM knows exactly what's happening in the country. He's in absolute control of every single department, every single situation. He understands about what's happening in the Philippines for Filipinos. And I believe that he is a strategist. I believe he will be an excellent president, and I love the way that he speaks highly of President Duterte as well. I love the way that he wants to continue the programs of President Duterte. And I also loved the way that he showed absolute respect to Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. She was the first person who he mentioned. He then made special mention of education and the plan of Vice President Sara Duterte to look at face-to-face or resume face-to-face classes as soon as possible. President BBM also spoke about vaccinations, which I think is very important, and, let's not forget, Filipino scientists are incredibly clever. I still don't really understand why they haven't really come out with a vaccine in the Philippines. A lot of these things can be manufactured locally. For heaven's sake, we have a Filipino, Gregorio Villar, who is a NASA scientist and helped design the Mars lunar capsule. Filipinos are endlessly talented. This was also acknowledged by President BBM when he spoke about Filipinos being resourceful online and being excellent in the entertainment industry. He also referred to these casual workers, if you like. And, you know, he wanted a proper society set up to represent the interest of Filipinos in the arts and in culture and entertainment. He praised the Filipino for this wonderful attribute. You know, BBM to me is pro-Filipino. He really understands the needs of the Filipino people. And I love the way that he carries himself. You know, he's a great diplomat, a great public speaker. I admire everything that he said in the first State of the Nation address. He also focused on hospitals throughout the Philippines as well, and he spoke about the indigenous communities. He spoke about the remote areas that maybe don't have that medical support, and he wanted to introduce that. What I also like is that he also appreciates those in agriculture. 1 second, sorry. He also appreciates those who want to pursue a career in farming or a career in agriculture. He also said that he wants to make sure land is given to them so they can pursue that. He wants young people to go into farming so that this very important sector is not lost. He understands that farming and agriculture and growing more products within the Philippines is the key to a better Philippines. He also spoke about renewable energy sources, and he's already spoken about the wind, generation of wind to create power in the Philippines. But clearly he wants to tap into other sources of energy as well, renewable energy. You know, I can see that President BBM has his fingers on the pulse. He's ready. You know, he understands the people. He understands the challenges. He understands the impact that COVID has had on the previous administration. He accepts that, he understands that. He's already previously praised President Duterte for the very difficult decisions that he was forced to take for the country in terms of these loans, if you like, or these special payments. President BBM also spoke about the 4 Ps and who should be on that list as well. You know, I'm very impressed by what I've seen in the State of the Nation address. And I have no doubt, you know, President BBM is not a leader who would wait for years and years and years for things to happen. He clearly has a timetable, and he has asked the various departments to come up with the goods in the soonest possible time. President BBM is not waiting forever. He is a man who expects results. He's a man who very much has his fingers on the pulse and is very clear in what he wants to achieve for the Philippines and the Filipino people. My congratulations, my dear President BBM. Thank you for what you are doing for the Philippines and Filipino people. Thank you for understanding that Philippine pride, and thank you for standing up for the country. Thank you for waving the flag for Filipinos, you know, that brand Filipino. He's talking about the Department of Tourism, he's talking about trains and airport renewals, and, you know, he really focuses on this, and he understands that investment in the Philippines will only come about if the right facilities are in place in the country. So again, I was very, very impressed. Having listened to the State of the Nation address maybe 3 or 4 times, I'm very tired now, but I understand what President BBM was trying to say, and of course I fully support it. I think it was an excellent State of the Nation address. Maraming salamat po, mabuhay.